candidates, I feel like they're not sure if Herschel should fly the plane.
Well, so let's take you through where things stand in terms of the battle for the Senate right now. Remember, came into yesterday at 50-50 in the Senate. That was good enough for the Democrats to control it with Kamala Harris's tie. The big change so far has been in Pennsylvania. It's a Democratic gain. What that means with the rest of the map is there's 3 Democratic-held seats, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, and there's 1 Republican-held seat, Wisconsin, all uncalled. The lead for Ron Johnson, the Republican in Wisconsin, sits just north of 30,000 votes. There are some Democratic votes still to come out of Milwaukee, out of Madison. There are some Republican votes to come from elsewhere. So just for the sake of argument, if you say that Johnson hangs on there, if he doesn't, that's ball game for the Senate. But if you say that Johnson hangs on there for the sake of argument, then it's going to leave Georgia, Arizona, Nevada in a question of can Republicans win 2 out of those 3. That's what they would need to get the Senate. Otherwise, Democrats hold it. And if you just take a look at where those 3 stand at this morning, here we are in Georgia. Raphael Warnock with an 18,000 vote advantage over Herschel Walker. There are still some votes to come in. You can see they're about 96% of the estimated vote. Our decision desk has not touched this, has not called this. I could say that the Secretary of State's office in Georgia last night publicly tweeted that they are preparing for a runoff in this race. Because, again, nobody gets to 50%. They would go to a runoff. That would be on December 6th. Very possible that neither Warnock nor Walker finish with 50. This goes to a runoff to be determined on December 6th. Then you take a look at Arizona. You're talking about this one. The big development overnight is in the biggest county of the state, which is Maricopa County. Maricopa County appears to have completed counting all of its same-day vote. If you were watching these votes as they came in last night, initially Mark Kelly in Maricopa had an advantage north of 20 points. It's now fallen to about 8 points. That's the effect of having all of that same-day vote counted in. What remains in Maricopa County, and this can sometimes be a days-long process, ballots dropped off in the final few days before the election and on Election Day. They'll release them in nightly batches in Maricopa County. But you can see this is critical. I think the lead that Mark Kelly has, the lead that Mark Kelly has statewide is 107,000. Okay. Now, in the 2020 presidential election, when turnout was higher, when we reached this comparable point overnight, Maricopa same day counted. The advantage that Joe Biden had in the state was 110,000 votes. Okay, and it came down about 100,000. So that is in a higher turnout atmosphere, though. So given that the turnout is down and Kelly's lead is sitting close to 110,000 as well, I think, again, there's no characterization from our decision desk, but that's a pad there that Democrats are probably feeling pretty optimistic about. And it makes the difference between the Senate race, 107,000 vote lead for the Democrat there, and the governor's race, where Katie Hobbs has gone through the same set of votes now that we just talked about and is ahead by 70,000 fewer almost. That is prime striking distance for Kari Lake with the vote that is still to be counted, at least potentially. So that's going to be the story the next couple of days. Based on what we saw in 2020, that final vote that was counted up was Republican friendly. If it were to be that Republican friendly again, it would be Lake might be in a good position, but Masters might be falling short. But that's a big question here. What does that vote look like? Does it look different than 2020? If Republicans fail to get Arizona, then they absolutely need to get Nevada. You're looking at the governor's race here, but let's call the Senate race up. And again, the development overnight here in the Senate race is that Adam Laxalt actually took the lead in the count over Catherine Cortez Masto. Now, what is left to be counted in Nevada? Primarily 2 things here. Late arriving, like dropped off day of, drop box vote in Clark County and in Washoe County. We're trying to get a handle on exactly how many ballots that means to be counted in those places. Is it enough for Cortez Masto to overcome a 22,500 vote deficit and win this race? You look at the governor's race, the Democratic governor down about 40.